12-year-old Liam stood at his bedroom window, staring at the house next door, the one that had been empty for years, until last week now. Someone lived there or something. It was almost midnight, and the basement light was on again, flickered like a heartbeat, fast, then slow, then out, then back again. Leaned closer, eyes squinting to see better, but all he could make out was a shadow, tall and still standing just behind the window glass. He had never seen them outside, not in the yard, not on the porch, not checking mail. Only that one night when they first moved in that night, Liam had heard screams. His parents told him it was probably a TV, but he knew the difference. TV screams did not sound like someone being ripped from their own body. Since then, things had not felt right. His dog refused to walk near the fence anymore. His dreams were filled with sounds of dragging chains and cold whispers in his ear. And that basement light, always at midnight, always flickering. Tonight, Liam grabbed his flashlight and tiptoed downstairs, careful not to wake his parents. The living room was dark, silent. He opened the back door and slipped outside, barefoot on cold grass. The night was too still, no wind, no crickets, even the street lamps looked dimmer than usual. He reached the fence and crouched low, the flickering from the basement still pulsing like a warning. Then he heard a voice, soft, broken, calling his name. Liam, Liam. His breath caught in his throat. He turned to run, but his feet would not move. The voice came again, louder, closer. Liam. He turned back to the house, and this time the shadow was gone. The window was wide open, and a hand reached out slowly, pale, bony fingers curling in the air, like it was feeling for him. He dropped the flashlight, and the light from it rolled toward the house. Then the hand grabbed it, snatched it fast like a spider catching prey. Liam gasped, stepped back, stumbled, and fell, his eyes wide, the world silent again. A whisper floated from the basement. "Come help me, please." It sounded like a child, a girl, crying. Liam ran back inside, locked the door, bolted it shut, and stood there shaking for minutes, his back against the wood. His parents never woke. The next morning he asked around. No one in the neighborhood had seen anyone move in next door. No truck, no new faces, no signs of life. The old man who walked his dog every morning leaned in close when Liam asked about the house and whispered, "That place has been empty since the fire." Liam frowned. "What fire?" The man looked down, shaking his head. "Years ago, family of 3 gone overnight, basement burned through, no one rebuilt it. It just stood there, waiting." Liam's heart pounded. That night at midnight, he stood at his window again. The basement light flickered again. The shadow returned again, but this time something changed. The shadow looked up directly at him. Its face was still, but its eyes moved, following his every breath. Liam stepped back, pulled the curtain closed, and sat on the floor, clutching his knees. Then the basement light in his own house turned on. He froze. There was no one down there. The switch was in the hallway. He got up, trembling, heart loud in his chest, and peeked from his room. The basement door stood open, a crack, and light spilled from below. He stepped forward, one shaky foot at a time. The stairs creaked with age or fear, or both. The cold wrapped around his neck like fingers. From below he heard her again. "Help me." Hurts. He reached the bottom and saw nothing at first. Only shadows, only silence, only that light bulb swinging slowly from the ceiling. Then he saw here a girl no older than him, sitting in the corner, knees to her chest, long black hair covering her face. Looked up slowly, and Liam stepped back, horrified. Her eyes were stitched shut and her mouth hung open wider than any human mouth should. From it came the same voice, "Help me." Then everything went dark and something cold grabbed his wrist. Whisper in the walls. Liam screamed, but no sound left his throat. The cold hand gripping his wrist felt like stone, wet and ancient. He tried to pull back, but the grip tightened. The stitched eyes of the girl never blinked, her mouth still wide, her voice now louder. "Please, do not leave me." Then the light exploded, a burst of blinding white, and Liam was thrown back, hitting the steps with a thud. His head spun, his vision blurred. The basement went dark again. He scrambled up the stairs, heart hammering, lungs burning, and slammed the basement door shut behind him. He locked it, then pushed a chair against it, falling to the floor, gasping. His parents never woke. Morning came like a lie, sunlight soft and warm, as if nothing had happened. Liam sat in the kitchen, watching the basement door, waiting for it to rattle or creak, but nothing moved. His mother came in, humming like Any other day she handed him breakfast and kissed his forehead. He wanted to scream, tell her everything, but the words died in his throat. She would never believe him. At school, Liam could not focus. Shadows moved at the corners of his vision, and whispers tickled his ears. You saw her, you cannot unsee. Turned in class, eyes wide, but no one was there. Just students scribbling notes. Just teachers droning on. That night he sat in bed, staring at the wall, listening for the voice, but the house was too quiet, too still. And then the knock came, not from the front door, not from the basement, but from his bedroom wall. 3 slow knocks, like a fist pressing through the plaster. Stepped closer, pressed his ear against the wall. Liam. It was her. He backed away, breathing fast, eyes wide. She was in the walls. He ran to his closet, pulled out the flashlight, still working somehow, and turned it toward the wall. A crack had appeared, thin but growing, like something inside was pushing through. Liam turned to run, but the window burst open, wind roaring into the room, whipping papers and books into the air. He screamed, but it was swallowed by the sound, and then silence. Again everything dropped to the floor. The window closed and the crack in the wall was gone. He climbed into bed, shaking, pulling the blanket up over his head, whispering to himself, "It is not real, it is not real." But he knew it was. He knew it was. The next morning he walked past the neighbor house again, trying to be brave, trying to prove it was just his mind playing tricks. But the basement light was on again, and this time there was more than one shadow. 3 figures standing together, one tall, 2 small, all staring at him. He ran that night. He told his father, "I think someone lives in that house." His father looked up from his paper. "No one does, son. That place is empty." Liam opened his mouth to argue, but stopped when he saw the look in his father's eyes. Not confusion, fear. His father knew something, but would not say. Later that night, Liam crept downstairs again, drawn by a sound, the voice again. But this time it was not calling for help. It was singing a lullaby, slow and broken. He followed it to the living room and froze. The wall across from him was bleeding, thin streams of red trickling from the corners down to the floor. He stepped closer, the flashlight trembling in his hand. Then the song stopped. A whisper replaced it. "Behind you." Turned slowly, and she stood there. The girl, eyes still sewn shut, mouth still open, arms reaching. But now her face was cracked like porcelain, and her voice was different. It echoed with others. "They see you now. You let them in. You opened the door." He screamed and ran past her, but the floor beneath him twisted, shifting like liquid, pulling at his legs. He fell again, this time into black, and when he woke, he was in the neighbor's basement. He sat on cold cement, surrounded by old toys, broken furniture, and claw marks across the floor above him. The same flickering bulb, the same open window. He crawled toward it, tried to stand, tried to climb, but hands reached from under the debris, holding him down, whispering, "Stay, stay forever." Grabbed a metal rod, swung blindly, heard a screech, felt the grip loosen, and ran toward the stairs. They twisted as he climbed, endless turning, until finally he reached the top and burst through into his own bedroom. His clock read 3:13. His window was shut, his door locked, but on his wall, the crack had returned, wider now, with a finger slowly pushing through the door in the wall. Liam stared at the finger sliding through the crack. It was long and gray, with torn skin and a nail too sharp to be human. His breath caught his legs, froze. He wanted to scream, but nothing came out. The wall pulsed like it was alive, like it was breathing. He stepped back slowly, eyes locked on the crack, which stretched wider as the hand forced itself through. Then came the wrist, then the arm, thin and shaking like it was crawling out of something ancient. Liam grabbed a chair, threw it at the wall. The crack stopped widening. The arm twitched, then vanished like smoke. The wall sealed itself back up, leaving behind only silence. But something had entered. He could feel it in the air, in the room, in his bones. The next morning his house felt wrong. Everything looked the same, but the shadows stretched too long. The mirrors were slightly tilted. The walls made faint sounds like they were whispering. At breakfast his mother smiled, but her eyes were dull, her voice too calm. "Did you sleep well, Liam?" He nodded, but inside his stomach twisted. His father did not speak, just stared out the window, holding his coffee with a trembling hand. That night, Liam found something behind his bookshelf, a trapdoor carved into the floor with no handle. Just a small indentation, like a place to rest a finger. He placed his hand on it and it opened silently, revealing a staircase leading down, but they had no basement. He should have screamed, he should have run, but the lullaby returned, floating up from the dark below, so he climbed down one step at a time, each step colder than the last. The walls turned from wood to stone, the air grew heavier, and then he saw the door. A normal door, but one made of bones and ropes and screaming faces all twisted into the surface. Stepped closer, and the door opened on its own. Inside was the basement of the neighbor's house, but not as it was this. One was soaked in water ankle deep and ice cold, the walls covered in red writing written by hands that shook. He saw toys, floating chairs, broken glass glittering on the surface. Then he saw them, the three shadows standing in the far corner, unmoving, unblinking, their faces hidden in hoods. They turned toward him slowly together, and the middle one stepped forward. Liam, he knew that voice. It was Sarah, his cousin, who vanished 2 years ago. She pulled back the hood, and her face was pale, her eyes black, tears streaming down her cheeks. You were supposed to help me. You heard me. You ignored me. He stepped back, trembling. I did not know. I did not understand. I did not know where you went. She reached for him, her hand ice, her voice rising now. They have me and they want you too. The other two removed their hoods. One was a boy from school who disappeared last year. The other was a woman. Liam did not know, but her mouth was sewn shut and her eyes bled. All three moved closer. Water rippled with every step behind them. The wall began to crack open again. Liam turned and ran back through the door, up the stairs, out the trapdoor, slammed it shut, and pushed the bookshelf over at his room. Returned to silence, but his hands were wet still, soaked from the basement. The next morning he tried to tell his parents, please, something is wrong. They looked at him like he was a stranger. His mother smiled slowly. We do not have a basement, Liam. We never did. He backed away and ran outside toward the neighbor's house, desperate to prove he was not insane. But the house was gone. Nothing stood there, just dirt and an old broken fence. He stood in the empty lot, heart pounding, breath shaking. Then he heard his name. Liam. He turned. His parents stood at the edge of the lot, staring at him, their eyes empty, their skin too pale. Come home, Liam. Everything is fine. He ran until the sky turned dark, until the streetlights blinked out one by one. When he reached his front door, it was not his front door. It was the bone door waiting open, and from the darkness inside came the lullaby again, only this time it sang his name. What lives behind the door? Liam stood frozen at the threshold of the bone door, its surface pulsing like a heartbeat. The song calling his name was soft like breath on skin, but each note felt sharp enough to bleed him from the inside. He wanted to turn back, wanted to scream for help, but the world behind him was gone. The streets, the lights, his house, all vanished, swallowed by fog and silence. Only the door remained and the voice that sang. He stepped inside. The air turned heavy, each breath like inhaling ashen cold iron. The floor beneath him cracked with every step like glass, too thin to hold him. Hallway beyond the door twisted in impossible ways, stairs that led sideways, walls that moved when he blinked. The light came from no source, but it followed him like an eye, always behind him, always watching. He saw pictures on the walls, his childhood photos torn and burned, his family smiling, but their eyes replaced with empty black holes. Past a mirror and saw himself, but not as he was. His reflection smiled without moving, his face stared without blinking behind the glass. A hand reached up and tapped. 3 times Liam ran. The hallway stretched longer, the song grew louder. Liam, Liam, Liam. He turned a corner and stopped. The room ahead was circular, lined with hundreds of faces, all whispering mouths, stitched eyes open wide. In the center stood a figure cloaked in shadow, tall and still, its arms stretched wide like it was waiting to hold him. He stepped closer, unable to stop himself. Are you? He asked. The figure tilted its head and spoke in 100 voices all at once. We are the forgotten, the broken, the left behind. You saw us, you heard us, you turned away. Now you must stay. Liam shook his head, backing up, but the floor behind him was gone. Only darkness remained. I was just a kid, I did not know, he whispered. The figure moved closer, its face a blur of shifting features now, Sarah, now his father, now himself. You knew enough to run, and that was enough to doom us. Liam fell to his knees, tears burning his cheeks, his heart aching with guilt. What do you want from me? Figure crouched and placed a hand on his shoulder, its touch cold and endless. You must choose, stay and take our place, or return and carry us with you forever. He looked up at the faces around the room, their eyes full of sorrow, pain, betrayal. Sarah stepped forward again. If you leave, we follow. If you stay, we rest. Liam closed his eyes. Images flooded his mind, every nightmare, every scream, every shadow. His hands shook as he reached into his pocket and pulled out something he did not know he had. A silver locket. Sarush opened it. Inside, a photo of her and him from years ago. She smiled in it, not the broken ghost smile, but the real one. He held it tight and looked at Harry. I'm sorry, I should have gone after you. I should have helped. She nodded, tears falling from her black eyes. You still can. He stood up. I will stay. The ground trembled. The whispers fell silent. The figure stepped back, arms lowering, its shape fading. But then faces began to scream. No, not him. He is not enough. Walls cracked. The room split open, and a flood of black water surged from the cracks. It swept Liam off his feet, pulled him under. He fought to breathe, to see, to speak, and in the dark he heard one voice, clear and alone. Run, Liam, run. Now he opened his eyes. He was back in his bed, sunlight pouring through the window, his pillow soaked in sweat. The basement door closed. House silent. He stumbled to the mirror. His eyes were his hands were shaking, but they were clean. Then he heard it from the wall, a final whisper. One night left, one choice remains, the last night. Liam sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the wall where the whisper had come from. The morning sun had no warmth. The light had no comfort. He could still feel the cold of the other place, the way the floor vanished, the way the voices screamed. The locket was still in his hand, even though he never remembered grabbing it. Again he looked at the wall and saw something new, a mark, a small symbol scratched into the paint, a circle with a line through it. The same symbol he had seen on the bone door. Knew what it meant. Time was running out that night. He stayed awake, sitting in his room, holding the flashlight, holding the locket, holding his breath. Clock ticked toward midnight, and then it stopped. The second hand froze. The lights flickered once, then all went dark. The air turned thick again, the silence deep and cruel. The wall in front of him began to crack slowly, a long fracture stretching from ceiling to floor. He stood up, eyes wide, heart pounding, and the wall split open like skin tearing. The room beyond was not his. It was the hallway from before, only this time it was burning. Flames danced across the walls, but gave off no heat. He stepped through because he knew he had to, because the house would not let him rest, because something waited at the end. The hallway stretched and twisted again, voices weeping from the floorboards. Faces pressed into the wood, begging, whispering, help us, take us, remember us. Liam walked faster, every step heavier than the last, the air pressing down on his chest. At the end of the hallway stood a single door, not the bone door, a wooden one, simple, old, covered in handprints, some large, some small, all burned into the surface. Reached for the handle and the door opened before he touched it. Inside was the circle room again, but it had changed. The faces were gone. Walls were clean, and in the center stood Sarah, alone, bathed in soft white light. Her eyes were no longer black, her face calm. She looked at Liam and smiled. You came back. He stepped closer, unsure if she was real, unsure if he was. Do I have to do? He asked. She held out her hand. Forgive, let go. Liam stared at her hand, then at the floor, then at the door behind him. He remembered everything. The fear, the guilt, the voices. He took her hand and the room dissolved. He was falling or floating or flying, light and shadow wrapped around him, and then he was standing in the empty lot next to his house, morning breeze on his face, birds in the sky. Oh, house, no basement, just earth. He walked to his front door, opened it, stepped inside. His parents were at the table, smiling. Whole real, welcome back, son. Sat down slowly, still holding the locket. It was warm. That night he slept without fear for the first time in weeks. No voices, no shadows, no cracks in the walls. Next day he walked to school and noticed the neighbor lot now had flowers. A small wooden sign stood in the middle. In Memory of those who never returned, he left the locket. There placed it in the soil and whispered, "Thank you." He turned to leave and felt nothing following. No breath on his neck, no eyes in the trees, just peace at last. The end.